Good morning, Valley. Today on Valley por Vida, we're speaking with a psychotherapist about ways to adapt to the new normal. We're also giving you tips on how to take control of your social media privacy and online data. We've got info on how grounding and yoga can be a great fit for your health and mental well-being this summer. Plus, tips on how to save money if you're planning on moving. There is so much going on, and we've got all those details. Valley por Vida starts right now. Vida. Well, with the pandemic, we've heard the new term, the new normal, a lot. But what exactly does this mean? Well, it means that people are finding new ways of nurturing our mental health after the pandemic, and with that means mind, body, soul well-being. Now, some ways of getting that mental resilience include grounding and yoga. So we went ahead and spoke with a grounding expert and energy medicine specialist to learn more. Go ahead and take a look.
Good morning, everybody. This is Amelia Vogler, Grounding and Energy Medicine Specialist, and I am so happy to be coming into your living rooms and kitchens this morning talking about some topics that are very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about wellness, grounding, maybe yoga, maybe a little energy medicine. So I bet you've heard the term grounding. And I bet you've heard of people who are ungrounded, and I bet you have maybe even met a few people, maybe at a party or at the grocery store, and you think, oh my God, they're really not grounded. But we don't really talk about what that means. You know, it's something that we kind of know. It's something that we sort of feel, and yet we don't really have a good definition for it. And grounding spans so many different areas of wellness, whether it be sort of our mental grounding, thinking about that kind of airheady moments, which we all have, or our energetic grounding, where we're not feeling as vital and we're maybe a little more sluggish. That's an indication that we're not grounded. Kind of interesting to think that being sluggish means not grounded, because grounded sometimes means we think heavy and fixed. And then there's also just in our emotional body, you know, grounding in the emotional body allows us to be really resilient, strong, sturdy, kind of facing whatever the days throw at us and being able to face it. So those are some kind of characteristics of grounding. Well, you know, the first step of learning about grounding and sort of doing that self-reflection and self-assessment is determining, like, am I grounded in this moment? You know, how ungrounded do I feel? And one of the first tips is kind of looking at how fast is your mind racing in the moment. Just taking that one moment and checking in with your thoughts. And I bet you've had experiences in life where your mind is going 100 miles a minute. You've got thoughts coming in and out. When you feel that, that's a good opportunity for you to say, hey, I think I'm losing my grounding here. And so once our mind starts racing, what happens energetically is that all of our energy kind of comes up into our head. And so what we want to do is ground it. Boom, bring it back to the floor. And how do we do that? Well, it's kind of simple. Energy follows thought. So feel your feet on the ground. You know, really take a moment, even maybe wiggle your toes. You can do it at home right now. Wiggle your toes even if you're sitting down, and maybe rock your heels a little bit and start feeling your feet on the ground. And slowly your energy is going to start getting from here and moving down the body, which brings you to center. And centering is such an important piece of being grounded.
Amelia hopes you can follow these 3 mindfulness tips to help improve your mental well-being living amidst this new normal. Number 1, follow your breath to the present moment, because we're human and our minds can definitely race with thoughts from time to time, so just remember to breathe. Number 2, laughter makes for the perfect medicine, so remember to smile and laugh, whether that means watching a good comedy flick or just reading some silly jokes. Laughter is definitely a great way of easing the mind. Lastly, don't be too hard on yourself yourself. Remember to be kind and passionate to yourself and to others. We've all gone through a lot to get through the pandemic, and of course, we're all in need of some self-care. Now, feel free to visit the website on your screen if you'd like more information on grounding and yoga resources. All right, well, moving costs over the last year were reviewed in a recent study, all in an effort to determine how much states and cities spent on an average during a typical move in the area. It turns out that Texas ranks number 3 in cheapest states. So we went ahead and spoke with an expert to learn more. Take a look.
I am a spokesperson for HireHelper.com. We are a moving marketplace on the internet, and what that means is you can book moving companies online through our website, including all over Texas. The reason we're talking today is because we just released a study looking at the average moving costs in all 50 states, and we found that Texas actually ranked number 3 as the cheapest state to book movers in the country. So what a lot of consumers don't realize is that summertime is actually the most popular time to move. So it's moving season right now. So these tips couldn't come at a better time. The reason why you should know that it's moving season is that it's a competitive time to get the best prices for movers. So these tips are going to help you save money right now. So we looked at all the moves booked on our website over the last year, and that's how we determined what the average moving costs look like. So nationally, the average cost to move was $400. That's nationwide. For Texas, it was actually only $340, so a little less. Now, I think a lot of people think that a moving company costs way more than that, and technically they are correct. A full service moving company usually costs in the thousands, but they're the types of moving companies that do everything. So that would be if you wanted somebody to drive the truck, pack, and move. So a popular way to save on movers and moving help is to actually just book movers by the hour. And that's the type of moving companies that HireHelper has on their website. And so that's a great way to save money. And a lot of consumers don't know this, but you can actually book just for loading help, unloading help, even to move furniture around your house. So it's less about driving and transporting the items, but it's more about doing the heavy lifting. So this can be a great way to save yourself from any back pain and actually save quite a bit of money.
There you have it. According to this study, Texas indeed ranks number 3 in the cheapest moving costs for states. Now you can feel free to visit the website on your screen if you'd like more information or indeed need help moving. All right, well, as the rate of COVID-19 cases has begun to decrease and the number of vaccinated individuals continues to rise, many are heading back on out into the world, unsure of what to expect or what lies ahead. Now, when reevaluating every aspect of our daily lives and adjusting to a post-pandemic society, but what exactly does this new normal entail? Well, we went ahead and spoke with a psychotherapist and a brain health expert to learn more. Go ahead and take a look.
Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Tara Lynn, and today we're going to talk about the burning question of what to do to safeguard your mental health as you transition back to work, which everybody wants to know about this because I think this work transition is a bigger deal than we thought, to be honest. I had no idea it was going to be such a big deal. So I think when you go back to work, you have to do some evaluation. And the thing was, when we left work, I kept saying, you guys, we need to evaluate this last year. Like, what's working for us, what's not working for us. And I think a lot of people didn't do that. I think, it's out of sight, out of mind. And now here we are again. And so we need to look at things like, what do you need to accept about going back to work? What do you need to change? And maybe what do you need to leave behind? So in acceptance of something, that means you don't have pain about it, right? It's not just, I'm going to go back and I'm going to trudge through this thing. And then changing something means changing something about you, like how you think about going back to work. Or maybe something in your work environment that really didn't serve you well before, that you really don't want to go back to. And then change it. Maybe you do need to, leave it, maybe you do need to leave it behind and figure out a different work strategy that might work better for you. I mean, there was a lot of kids that actually enjoyed staying home from school too. And then they had to all go back in. I look at things like this frog in the boiling pot of water is how I talk to people. Like when you're a frog and they put you in a pot of water, they turn up the heat on the stove and you sit in the water until it boils, and you don't realize that you're sitting in such hot boiling water until you're taken out of the pot. And now we're all asked to be jumping right back into the pot, but it's already boiling. We already know what the pot holds for us, right? So that brings about some anxiety and fear about going back into exactly what was. And I keep telling people, if you didn't learn anything about yourself in the last year, what was the point of the last year, right? So I think it's really time to figure out, did you like that boiling pot of water, or would you like something, a lukewarm bath, over here instead? And I think that goes across the board, children, teens, and adults. And as adults, listening to our kids and not just expecting them to go right back into that boiling pot. That's validating their emotions. So I think that's our role with our kids, is this validation that maybe they don't want to go back and do the things that they were doing before either, and that's okay.
If you're interested in learning more, feel free to visit the website on your screen. All right, well, it's time now to take a commercial break, and then we've got to look at your local weather updates. But be sure to stay tuned because Valley por Vida will be back. And we'll have details on how you can use a new feature on social media to help you find a job this summer in the Valley. Those details plus more coming up.